good fun week ahead. New camper van, new DJI Mini 3 Pro. So let's get it sorted. Hello, I'm Ian and I play with drones, and here I am down on the South Downs camping for the week, and on the way here I managed to pick up the new DJI Mini 3 Pro. So this is the one with the nice big screen built into the controller. No fly more combo sets available at the moment, it seems. I've tried pretty much everywhere, nowhere seems to have them in stock. So for now, all I'll be doing is having a look at what is in the box for this particular package, putting it through its paces and getting it out for its first flight. So let's get it open. Behold, little drone. Controller is bigger than the drone, that's what we like. And a few little boxes. So let's put that there to one side. Notably, you do not get a charger with this. Now, you do of course get the USB-C cable. I think, as I said, mixed views on this. Personally, I think seeing as more and more electronics move onto the unified USB-C charging platform, you don't need to keep on getting charger after charger. That's certainly the plan anyway, but some people think absolutely, if you're spending almost £1,000 on a drone, you should at least get the charger. Either way, you need a 30-watt charger. It's not included. The chances are your mobile phone charger, if it's a media one or certainly a laptop that's providing USB-C direct power, will be more than capable of charging this up. But anyway, in the box you get a solitary USB-C to USB-C charging cable. You get a few spare props and a micro screwdriver. You get the little drone itself. There we are. And you get this fairly impressive remote control. Now, this is not a replacement or an alternative to the new RC Pro, but I mean, I have to say, it does look beautiful. It does look very impressive. Be interested to see how bright it is, what the nits of value are, if you like. But anyway, let's just take a few things to compare side by side. So first off, here is the remote control. This is the Mini 2 here. We've got standard remote that you're getting with most. A little bit lighter, barely, but you can see quite a bit bigger. Okay, so you've got quite a large size differential going on there, so it's taller and wider. So there you go, you can see it more clearly there, but you have got the equivalent of a lovely big screen. Now here's my Sony Xperia. It's actually a smaller screen, so I mean, it's not same width. I know I've got a bit of a strange aspect on this particular screen, but you can see there what you're basically getting. Anyway, I'm very excited to have a built-in screen. Will be useful to see, it'll be good to see rather, how quickly it fires up and locates. Now, interesting, the these got a very different screw thread, so you will not be able to swap. So I mean, how can I say, the old standard remote has got a male thread that is going to screw into the female socket here. Not the case with the new. This is a female thread that throws onto the male thread there. So for whatever reason, it's a different set of sticks. Anyway, enough of that. Let's actually have a look at this amazing little drone. So, first impressions. Funny, I mean, it feels very light, feels very similar to the Mini 2. Now, you remember the Mini 1, I wasn't very impressed. I found it quite flimsy and flexible. I was very pleased with the Mini 2. Very sturdy, very little twist going on in the legs there. Let's see how this compares. Well, there are no legs for a start because it just sits on its bum basically. But okay, so certainly not a lot of flexing going on there. So again, it feels very sturdy, which is good. So you've got forward, rear, and downwards obstacle avoidance. That's the new big thing. Let's have a little look at the gimbal itself, multitude of little stickers to peel off. Right, so the gimbal looks small, but you've got to remember that, yeah, okay, it's a 48 effective megapixels, 12 megapixel sensor with a quad base sensor on basically. But crucially, it is a larger sensor size, and the actual size of the individual pixels are actually the same as the Air 2S, which in my books is a huge improvement because it's going to be far better. Bigger pixels mean better low light, so it's going to be far better in low light. So again, it'll be nice to test that out. Otherwise though, let's have a little look. I mean, it is longer arms, of course, than the existing Mini 2. You can see, yeah, quite considerably longer arms. So there you go, you've got about an inch longer. Rear ones, they're roughly the same. Well, they come up at a steeper angle, so obviously it's got to sit above the little two legs. You've got the rear legs and then the front legs, and you want these arms up out of harm's way so you're not going to be chopping the grass when you land or kicking up too much dust. But it is quite funny to see much longer arms than you're used to. In fact, if I was to compare it with the Air 2S, forward arms, I think we're pretty much okay. So you can see there, half an inch shorter, but a good inch longer. So there we are, not quite so mini. So nice to see that the gimbal is got two support arms. It looks nice and solid. Sadly though, it is, you can see, the most protruding element of the drone. Unlike, if we look on the Mini 2, you'll see how the gimbal was down behind the leading edge. So when you hit into a tree, the body of the drone is the first thing to actually hit, and your gimbal lives to fly another day, or take another photo another day. Not so here. Look at that. So straight away you have a problem. You hit a tree, the first thing that's going to hit is actually the gimbal itself. Now if you're lucky, the props will hit it and it will fall away, but to me that's a little bit of poor engineering and design if you're making the most delicate part of the drone to be the most exposed part of the drone. So again, I think you're only going to crash this once before it then needs a new gimbal, because even if it lands, let's have a look. Yeah, so this is why I buy the drones and don't just get review drones, so I'm free to criticize. So my first reaction is, when this lands, the first thing that's going to hit the ground is the gimbal. So I guarantee you, you're only going to crash this once and then you're going to be getting the gimbal repaired. Bad design, DJI, bad design. Now, I have to see whether or not you can fit some aftermarket gimbal protectors, but frankly, I don't see where you're going to actually fit that in. You know, it's quite poor. But anyway, there you go. So that's my first criticism of this new drone. Very exposed gimbal. Best you don't crash is my message there. Just as before with the Mini 2, you have got the exposed USB-C and the exposed micro SD card on the rear. No cover protecting them. And I'm guessing if you haven't got long fingernails, you're going to need tweezers or something to get the SD card in and out. Big difference there, of course, is that on the Mini 2 you had the little battery protector or the flap, and the battery went right inside. Here the battery forms, there we go, out it comes, part of the actual, well, the battery is the cover, if you like. As I mentioned in another video, Europe and the UK, you're only going to get the small battery that gives you 34 minutes flight time. The larger Battery Plus, sadly, they're going to make it difficult for it to be obtained within Europe and the UK, so that they can eventually get this drone classified as a C0. Yeah, it won't be a C1, it'll be a C0 with a camera, not a toy. And the trouble is, I'll put a link to the other video as to why you're not going to get it, but basically, if they have accessories that will take this over 249 grams, then the maximum takeoff mass will be more than 249 grams, and therefore it can't have its C0 classification. So method in their madness, but it does take away a bit of the freedom that, that you might otherwise have. I'm sure you'll be able to get third-party grey imports from around the world, whether or not they're actually prohibited from flying with it, because it knows which area of the world you're taking off in, and it may actually stop the drone from taking off. I don't know. I'd like to get hold of a larger battery to try that out. Haven't got one yet. Anyway, let's get it charged up and take it out for its first flight. Right, I have to say I have been waiting well over an hour and a half. If you haven't got a 30-watt charger, then you are going to be waiting quite some time. Sadly, as I said, I'm camping. I've only got 20-watt power banks, so at the moment I think I'm probably on about 3/4 battery. Anyway, for all I want to do this today is take it up and have a first flight, so to speak. I haven't actually powered up the drone yet because I want to see how quickly it finds the satellites on the very first boot up. So the controller is very nice to use. It's going to be quite hard to see in the camera. It is a very bright day, a lot of white cloud, and yet I've got absolutely no problem seeing the display. So it may not be as good as the RC Pro, but for me, on a day-to-day basis, this screen is going to be fantastic. The actual controller fits very nicely. It's got a nice little hook, kind of just sits on your hands, won't really go anywhere like that. Your hands do not get in the way of the screen unless you're kind of doing that, which is not a really sensible way to hold it. So anyway, let's fire up the drone and see exactly how quickly it locates all the satellites. Right, Okay, sun in a completely different position. Tummy full from lunch because yes, firmware update, fairly long process there. And obviously if you're out in the wilds like I am at the moment and you haven't got great cell phone signal, then it's going to take a long time. That took over an hour to do the firmware update. And I had to keep it connected with a power bank whilst I was trying to do the firmware update. And I am on 50% battery now, so no long flying today. So like I said, if you're going to get the firmware updated, definitely do that at home where you've got a good internet signal and fast download speed, because it's quite a chunky update. Right, I'm not really sure whether or not it's managed to align itself with the satellites now. Let's just turn it on. See how quickly am I recording the screen? Yes, I am. Moving over there. Just to see how quickly. Very nice. I'm really loving this remote control though. Absolutely a joy to handle. It's nice not having the phone kind of top heavy. Okay, connecting up. Okay, we'll put the SD card in later. Let's have a look at those satellites. 0 satellites, so I shall count on the film later. Now in truth, okay, we are surrounded by trees here, so it's not, and birds, so it's not a true good reflection of how quickly this will align with satellites. 1 to 6, 8. Okay, it's faster than the Mavic 3. Of course is one of the new, let's not drop it. Right, so you've got a couple of C buttons here. It looks like when you, there we go, you can see gimbal turning. Nice new feature for those of you that want to shoot in portrait mode and upload to social media immediately, if not sooner. Okay, maybe it's not faster than the Mavic 3.
Please check it on the map.
Okay, I'll check on that. That kind of felt like 2 minutes. I know the Mavic 3 was taking about 5 minutes when I first got it. More like 2 minutes now. Anyway, look, I haven't got an SD card, but I am recording the screen here. I want to just see what the flight is like. I'm not going to go up high. Certainly don't want to go up high at all because I've got trees all around me, but it'd be nice to just see what it sounds like. So, yeah. Oh my lord.
Point has been updated. Please check it on the map.
That is very quiet. Now these things are very subjective. I mean, obviously you can only hear the sound through the collar mic that I'm wearing, but for me, I've flown a few drones in my time. It's a lower pitch and it is definitely a quieter sound. So in the past we've had lower pitches, not so nasty, not like an angry bee, so you perceive it to be quieter, but I genuinely think this is a quieter drone, so that's very interesting. Also very interesting angle there, so I'm going to just bring it towards us a little bit. You can see how its default angle, you've got the rear rotors are lower than the front props, and it's quite a steep angle of attack. So I've got both the Mini 2 and the Mini 3 up at the moment, and even with the Mini 3 closest to me and the Mini 2 over there, the Mini 2 is by far and away the loudest drone. I'm not gushing, I'm just saying how it is. The Mini 3 is a very, very quiet drone. And like I said, it's often a bit subjective. All I can do is just take the collar mic and so that's the Mini 3. Mini 3. Mini 2. Put it in bypass, see if it's got the same problem as what the Mavic 3 had. No, he's doing quite well there. Come straight back towards me. See how good yeah, he's going round the bush okay. Rising up over the van. Fire him straight at the bush. And off he goes. Oh, okay, that's pretty good. So he looks like he's got very similar bypass mode to the Air 2S and the Mavic 3. Not quite as flighty as the Mavic 3 was, so it looks like they got things right there. Bouncing around quite happily. Try again, just go. And try one more time. So he's increasing height and avoiding the leaves, avoiding the twigs, doing exactly what he should do. Let's bring him straight back to us. There we go, straight back. Is he going to hit the twig? Is he going to hit? No, he bypasses the twigs. Lovely. Okay, that's all pretty impressive stuff. I'm plagued by low batteries. All right, let's bring him back. Obviously, if you have the return to home altitude set to higher than the branches above, it'll just rise up, hit the branches and crash. So let's not take too many risks this time. Just gonna down we come. Right, safe and sound. So obviously just a quick run through there. I wanted to just get my feelings on the very first flight. Like I said, it seems much quieter. It seems very robustly built. It seems very poorly designed with regards to the camera and gimbal being the first thing to hit a tree. There you are, what can I say? The remote is beautiful. Now obviously the RC Pro costs almost as much as the entire package itself, so you're never going to get the RC Pro included in this bundle, but I was worried that they might be skimping and putting in a poor quality screen. Certainly from my perspective, the screen was beautiful, bright, crystal clear. It's a very bright overcast day today, very bright white cloud everywhere. I had no problems whatsoever seeing the picture on this screen. So the screen is a beautiful big bonus to this package, and I would absolutely recommend you pay that little bit extra to go for that package if you can. It's also very nice not having the phone counterbalancing and just weighing you down. It's a very nice light remote, and obviously when you take these little things off, it's going to bundle up into quite a nice small little package. Now, I didn't get to play with the camera settings at all today. In fact, I really didn't get much chance to play with much of the different functions because I actually had quite a poor battery, and that is one of the things you're going to need to consider. Like I said, there's no charger included. Now, you might think, as I said, good from an environmental perspective, we don't all need chargers, but not all of us are going to have a 30-watt charger, and 30 watts is the bare minimum you need. That's getting into laptop charger territory. So if you've got a new laptop that charges with a USB-C, you will be fine and dandy, but don't expect to just plug in your phone charger because you will be waiting hours and hours and hours. The firmware update took over an hour because obviously here I am camping in the middle of the South Downs without fantastic cell phone signal. So it took over an hour, and by the time the firmware had updated, the battery was down to 25%. So I had to wait again for the battery to charge up. And even then it only charged up to about 50% after an hour because I was using a 20-watt power bank as opposed to a 30-watt charger. Now, I have actually got a, let me just get it. Now, thankfully, every time I go camping, I bring along this little beastie. I did a video on this a few months ago, actually. It's a brilliant little portable power station that has got a 45-watt USB-C direct power outlet. So that is what I'll be using to charge this little beastie up this evening. And then tomorrow I can make it, I can put it through far more flights tomorrow. It is a little bit disappointing not to get the Fly More kit straight away. I'm not used to getting a drone without a case. I'm not used to not having a spare battery, and hopefully DJI are going to get these stock out certainly to the UK soon, but at the moment nobody seems to have the Fly More kit in stock at all. So I am stuck with one standard battery giving me 34 minutes, which in real-time flying is only going to give you 22, 25 minutes tops. And then you're waiting an hour to an hour and a bit for it to charge up again. So it's not the best situation, to be honest, when you spent almost £1,000 on this package. But early days, early thoughts, like I said, it seems a brilliant little drone. Far too early to come to full conclusion, but I'm very pleased with how sturdy the arms are. And yeah, I cannot stop gazing into this lovely big controller. So yeah, there we are. That's my first thoughts today. Like I said, I am camping down here on the South Downs for the next week, so I should be able to get some pretty nice flights with this once I've got it charged up. As ever, give me a little thumbs up, always helps the video. If you haven't subscribed, of course, get notified when I put a new video out. But look, hopefully you found this useful. I am very happy with this. I think it's a beautiful little drone, as long as I never crash it. And on that, I will say, as usual, wherever in the world you are, stay safe and sane, have fun, happy flying.